the start line, it's just about thinking about those of you kind of in your corner, the people that are supporting you. Before you take off for a race, it's easy to think about the competitors either side of you, what's going on in their heads. You get inside your own head, but there's no point in that. You've got to think about the people that are supporting you and what you're doing this for, and that's the way to sort of combat the nerves. And before we start, that's how I'll always prepare heading into a race. The coach at this point would just tell me to relax. He'd tell me to, react to the gun really positively. There's no point of setting yourself up in a bad position just by being kind of lazy to start. You need to be absolutely kind of snappy to that gun in the 1500 meters. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a bad position. So it's a case of relaxing so that your body's able to have that spring. Because if you're tensed up, you'll be kind of robotic almost in the first few strides, and you'll lose a meter or two. The other thing, although I maybe shouldn't be saying this, is to have your elbows out, because if you have them tucked in, there's every chance that someone either side of you will cut you off. So you need to actually hold your ground, almost like the old sort of cross-country days. Otherwise, you'll get a bad start, and people will gain meters on you. Ideally, I'll be in lane 1. It's kind of something that myself and my coach are always quite insistent on, is that you want to be running the shortest distance possible while still conserving energy. So a lot of people kind of, and this is trickier to do in practice than in reality, you want to be conserving energy, doing as little work as possible on the inside, and whether that's at the front, kind of middle of the pack where you might be in trouble, you want to be less there, or even sometimes at the back can be an okay place to be as long as you're not too far back. The mistake people often make is that they sort of float in lane 2 or 3 the whole race and never really commit to a move. If you're going to move, you might as well do it all the way to the front. Never kind of make a half move. It's particularly on the last lap, otherwise you're just going to waste energy. It's not going to be, you're not going to get the same returns out of the move. So, if I'm talking to my coach and he says, you're only making 2 moves in this race, one of them tends to be at the start of the race where you get yourself in position, and generally you want to relax until you make your second move in the race, which has to be a positive one. If you make a sort of a half move, often that's just not going to get you any further, and people are just going to come round you again. So ideally, if I'm going into the last lap, to be honest, I would want to be taking the lead if I can, or being on the shoulder of the person in first. Or the third option, the sort of calculated gamble, which is kind of the option I took at the British Championships, is to be behind someone that you know is going to finish strongly. So at the British Championships, I knew Josh was in great shape. I knew that he was going to kick on from a good 500, 600 out, because that's kind of where his strengths lie. So the idea was to be right on him, knowing that he wouldn't kind of tie up in the home straight, knowing that gaps might open up. So it's a kind of calculated gamble, being behind that kind of guy, staying relaxed, focusing on your form and not straining too much yet, and having the confidence that this guy is going to move well and I'm going to pounce as soon as a sort of inch of a gap opens up.